What if the quieter challenges in your life, the ones that don't always make the headlines, are actually shaping something meaningful behind the scenes? Welcome to From That Comes This, where we explore the connection between what happens to us and what we build from it. I'm your host, Rebecca Foster, and I'm happy that you're following us on this podcast. If you aren't following us on Instagram, it's easy to do, at From That Comes This podcast with an underscore, and you can find us and subscribe on YouTube as well, same name. Today's guest, I've known for a very long time. He brings a story that does involve challenges along the way. Some of these challenges louder than others, some obvious and not so obvious, and others, they weren't in our faces, but they're there, and we know that everyone goes through adversity at some point in life. How this individual handles challenge and the situations that come with challenges is a testament to his positive outlook and quiet determination. His journey is a reminder that even when that challenge may strike, one doesn't need to be dramatic in one's approach to handling the situation. Quite often, it's the steady, less visible moments that open the door to new perspectives, unexpected opportunities, and a deeper sense of purpose. Born in Toronto, raised in Malton and Brampton. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not naming the guest just yet. A graduate of the broadcast journalism program at Fanshawe College. So you lived in London.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. He has an insane passion for sports. I got that right.
100%.
Okay. From a young age, I'm sure he dreamed of becoming, I'm assuming he dreamed of becoming a play-by-play announcer, a goal that would eventually shape his path in broadcasting. A man with what is hard to believe is a 30-year career history. I know, his eyes just popped out of his head, which included stops in Chatham, Fort McMurray, and Brantford, before making his way to his now hometown. Can I say it's your hometown now?
Yep.
Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Highly respected news anchor, reporter, producer, podcast host, morning show co-host, play-by-play announcer. He also carries many other titles, including titles of husband and father, which I'm sure are by far his most favorite. My friends, please join me in welcoming Mr. Rick Zamperin, co-anchor of CHCH Morning Live, host of CHCH Newsmakers podcast, and play-by-play announcer for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Welcome to From That Comes This.
Rebecca, thanks for having me. That is an unbelievable welcome. I think we might just end the podcast there on a high note and call it a day.
You are the best human. I am so honored that you're here with me, Rick. And I mentioned before we started to record that I'm a little nervous about interviewing the interviewer.
Okay, well, you shouldn't be.
Well, I am. I'm going to be fully transparent. However, Rick, we go back almost 30 years, not quite. There was, so maybe 24, 25.
Sure, that
okay?
sounds accurate, yeah.
Way back in the day in the media world. It's hard to believe that decades go by so fast.
I know.
Right? Don't you still feel 20-something?
Yeah, it's, I'm in my 50s now, which is still hard to believe because I don't feel 50.
No, you don't look 50.
Well, thank you.
See, 50 is the new...
Might be the makeup, actually.
You don't even look like him. He just came from the show,
Yeah.
so from CHCH Morning Live. So, and thank you for that. Your day is jam-packed. You don't look 50. And 50, I think, is the new 40.
Yeah, we'll take
right?
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you keep in shape. Mm-hmm. You eat well.
Yep,
Yeah.
try to, yeah.
You take care of yourself. That's what's going to give us longevity in life.
That's the secret. And, my motto is don't sweat the small stuff because that can eat at you in terms of whether it's whatever is going on in your day, a major catastrophe. Like there's always going to be another day, right? The sun's going to come out tomorrow and away we go.
Someone said to me once, thank you for sharing that, and that is a great mantra, don't sweat the small stuff. Someone said, and they didn't say it flippantly, but in the world of broadcasting, one is not a brain surgeon. Mm-hmm. No one's life is on the line, so to speak. And that kind of repositioned my mindset early in my career because I would stress about things. You, my friend, are a bit of a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. It comes with the territory, right? You're reporting on facts. Yeah. You want to make sure that you have the facts, and we'll delve into that a little bit more. But I was trying to come up with one word that describes you.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to come up with the word. I struggled with it because there's so many words to describe you. You are just this person who is genuine. And that's the word. No matter the day, and it's interesting that your mantra is don't sweat the small stuff because that's who you are. Mm-hmm. You make everyone feel comfortable. You have this capacity to make people feel welcome in any environment. And I speak from personal experience
Right,
with you,
yeah.
because as a young Rebecca, I would walk into the radio station and it's intimidating to those that don't spend the day there.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So the one thing about you are genuine in your approach to work, life, friendships.
Yeah.
And I take away, and I've learned over the years, knowing you, relationships are important to you.
Oh, 100%. And I think I learned this, and I think most people do, kind of from their parents, right? It's part DNA, and I think it's part learned behavior. For me, I have an innate ability to put myself in other shoes. So what would they say to me that I would find comforting or helpful in a certain situation? So that's how I kind of attack many aspects of my life.
And your parents helped you with that, or you came up with that?
No, I mean, they kind of helped along because I would see them do it, right? And so, yeah, I want to be like dad. I want to be like mom, so let me act like them. So I took a lot of who I am is from them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you have instilled that in your children who are...
Trying to sometimes, some days are easier than others. But yeah, I think they've taken a little bit of the page out of dad's playbook.
I would suffice it to say they've probably taken a
Yeah.
huge page, and your wife as well, because obviously you've raised the kids well. They are in their 20s now?
Yeah, hard to believe, but soon to be 25 and 21
Wow.
I know,
And
I'm an old man.
you're a young
I know,
man.
I
Our
know.
kids have just chosen to grow up.
This is true.
And they're both working?
So my daughter is working. My son is still in college.
Okay.
Yes.
So pursuing,
He's in veterinary assistance.
Wow.
Which is, there's a vet tech,
Right.
which helps the vet, and then there's a vet assistant, which helps the vet tech. So he's learning about animal care, how to diagnose a certain situation, blood smears and poop smears and all this, technical mumbo jumbo that he's learning about. And he wants to be in animal care, which is cool.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
what is your daughter doing?
So she's currently the manager of the post office, Canada Post, at Shoppers Drug Mart at Limeridge Mall.
That's amazing.
And deals with the public and has a great ability to solve problems. She is a wonderful thinker, and she's off to bigger and better things for sure.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. It's what we hope for them, right? We want
Yeah.
only the best for our kids.
Yeah, we send them to school or hope they choose a program that they
Yeah.
like, and they do, and they're off to, things that they enjoy doing, both, from a professional standpoint and from a personal standpoint.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. They have a great dad.
Well, thank
I
you.
can tell you that for sure. So let's go back to your childhood. You were a sports fan in the early days?
Yes. I was born in the mid-'70s. I grew up at an age, and I had an older brother and a younger sister. So an older brother who was about a year and a little bit older.
The middle child.
And I know.
And you're so normal.
And I didn't want to be my older brother because we would challenge each other, especially from a sporting perspective. But a lot of the teams that he gravitated to, I naturally did because my family did as well, right? And so I just remember being a young boy, Saturday nights, my brother and I at my grandparents who lived in Toronto, and we would watch Hockey Night in Canada. And my grandparents were Leafs fans, and they were around the last time the Leafs won the Stanley Cup, and I haven't even seen them in the final, but that's a whole different
another
podcast.
story.
But we would watch the games. My grandfather would fall asleep, after eating his bowl of peanuts, and we would watch the rest of the game. And I grew up loving sports. Because there was competition, there was us versus them, there was, stats that I was obviously big into at a very early age. So that was kind of my upbringing in the world of sports. And then we would try to mimic that on the playground, whether it was at school during recess or after school or on weekends or just playing road hockey until the street lights came on and we had to go inside, right? So that was kind of how I grew to love sports.
Yeah. So you took all of that, and it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, because I'm smiling ear to ear because I have a lot of similar memories of hanging out with my grandfather in
Right.
Toronto. He'd fall asleep to the game and we'd still, be watching, but beautiful memories,
Yes.
right? How special or how lucky are we to have had those experiences? So you're a diehard Leafs fan.
Unfortunately, yes.
Maybe next season will be the one. Some good news came out, so this is good.
Yep.
And we'll be hopeful forevermore. So as a kid, do you think you're going to do something in broadcasting at this point? Like, you were practicing, you were playing
Yeah.
sports, but At what point do you think, I want to be the guy announcing what's happening?
It was, so this had been early to mid 80s. I'm, 8, 10 years old, and we're watching hockey or baseball or football. You name the sport, we were watching it. And I always kind of fantasized of being the athlete. But I knew in my heart of hearts that, it's really tough. Like a small percentile of individuals get to that stage. So too, from a broadcast standpoint, there's only one broadcaster or maybe 2 or 3 per game, and there's a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
But I really fell in love with the storytelling of describing what was happening, and the inflection of the individual, and the excitement that they exhibited on the microphone. It was just, to me, enthralling, and I thought, I want to do that. I want to be a play-by-play announcer.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that took you into your teenage years.
Exactly. And I would be playing road hockey or baseball or soccer, and I would be commentating or doing play-by-play as I played.
Did that annoy your friends or your brother?
It did substantially, yeah. Not so much my brother, because he was used to it by that point. And he would stand up to others who would be complaining. And there wasn't much complaint, because even as a kid, I guess I was entertaining. I don't know.
Absolutely
or maybe I was distracting the opposition. But it was just a lot of fun, and it actually kept me really engaged with what was happening. And so I was an okay goalie. I had fun playing the sport. But when I did play-by-play, I seemed to do it a little bit better, and I'm not sure why, but it just made it more fun.
It comes naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, so it puts you on this path to choosing a post-secondary education component, which... How did you come? You just knew you were going to go into broadcasting?
Yeah, I didn't know how, though, because I knew there were jobs. How do I become a play-by-play announcer? How do you get to be at Maple Leaf Gardens at the time, or Ivor Stadium back in the day?
We didn't have the internet.
No, I mean, we're talking.
We're talking. Listen, again, we're dating ourselves.
Yeah.
But you couldn't Google. How do I do this? So
exactly.
How did you figure it out?
So this was grade 8. I was at Bishop Francis Allen Elementary School and in Brampton, and the day came where it was like a career day. And I remember getting the form, and it was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a veterinarian? Do you want to do this or that, a teacher? And I thought, well, I don't see something for broadcasting, or I don't see something for, play-by-play announcer. And so I asked the teacher, what section am I looking at this form? And she said, well, you want to look at broadcast journalism. And there wasn't like a box that said that. You had to write it in. So, I want to be a broadcast journalist, play-by-play announcer. And so that kind of, propelled me into the courses that I would take in high school. Not only English, which was mandatory at the time, but English writing, and kind of hone my writing skills to be a journalist to eventually become a play-by-play announcer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember having that opportunity in grade 8. So how fortunate were you that the teacher actually heard what you said?
Exactly.
They probably didn't know what to do with you.
Well, they were probably thinking, how do you become a play-by-play announcer? Like, there isn't a box, so just write it in. And we figured it out.
That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so you get through high school.
Yes.
Writing is obviously a passion of yours.
Yeah, I remember getting 92% in English writing.
Yay.
Yes.
There you go. I'm so proud of you. Were you good in math?
I was not good in math.
Me either.
And still to this day. And I think the creative people, artists, broadcasters, even writers, like math is not a strong suit because we're using the other side of the brain.
Right.
Right? And so I still to this day struggle.
So for those that are also struggling, remember this. There are other career paths that you can take.
Which is funny because I love stats. So batting averages and, winning percentages and, shutouts and wins.
You figured out those formulas,
yes.
Right? There's a method to it. It was all the calculus.
Yeah, algebra.
Finite.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
Anyway, for those that enjoy math, that is wonderful. Power to you.
Yes.
So you get through high school, you're on this path. How did you decide where you were going to go to post-secondary?
So there were some options. I remember Seneca being one. I think Carleton University had a program. Fanshawe College kind of rose to the level where I thought, okay, this is a cool place. It's in London. I'm away from home.
Not too far.
Not too far, right? London's, a couple of hours away. I would either be on residence or live in an apartment. I went with the latter route, which is a lot of fun. And I had a great experience at Fanshawe. What a wonderful program. And I came at what I thought was the perfect time, because my first year we had the reel-to-reel machines. We had the carts or the 8-track kind of machines. So the splicing of the actual physical tape that we would tape together with physical tape and create a documentary or, an interview or whatever we did. And then year 2 was the digital age. And now it's, waveforms, and you can cut with a click of a mouse, and it was unbelievable. So I'm glad I learned the old way and certainly the new way.
Wow. And who would have thought we'd be where we are today?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that. So all of that training did help you in your career, and we'll get to that. So after Fanshawe, was it a 2-year program?
2-year program, yeah. So the first year and 3/4 was strictly radio, writing for radio, reporting, how to develop a story, how to make contacts, how to connect the dots when things...
So important.
Yeah. And the last part of the program, there was a TV component. So it was basically an in-house television station where we would anchor, there would be a weather person, there would be an entertainment reporter, a sports person, and that was a lot of fun too, and people behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. Which is what happens in the real world of broadcasting. So from there, you graduate. What happens next? Where do you go?
Well, that was a big question mark, because it's mid-90s, we're in the recession. And I thought a job was almost automatic. You graduate college or university and you have employment, at the ready. That wasn't the case. And no one was hiring. In fact, a lot of radio stations at the time were trimming, because people weren't advertising or spending on ad dollars, so radio stations couldn't increase their budgets. And so I sent cassette tapes back in the day and resumes, little envelopes, put the postage from coast to coast to coast, from Newfoundland to BC. It was every little and big radio station you can imagine.
You were hustling.
Yeah. And the responses, all of them really, were... We love what we hear. The resume's green, obviously, you're fresh out of college, but we just can't make room for you because we don't have the budget.
But that didn't stop you.
No, because I was determined to follow my goal. And I knew the first stop wasn't going to be play-by-play, right? And unless you're extremely lucky, you're not going to, land a job like that, especially with a prestigious organization. So I just kept going and sending out those tapes. And finally, there was an opening in Chatham, Ontario. Which again, not that very far from London, another half-hour drive or so. And they were hiring a part-time weekend news anchor and weekday reporter. And so I interviewed for the position. Someone that I actually went to college was working there as a reporter during the week. And so they obviously helped me a little bit to get in, and I got in, and it was a wonderful experience. Chatham's an awesome town still to this day. I visit it every so often. I don't have any relatives there, but
You'll still go back.
Yeah, there's a little nugget of a relative being there that we can get into later. But I got to do a lot of different things. From anchoring to reporting to, covering a Wallaceburg Town Council meeting, or, whether it was an active police situation that I had not been exposed to in my college days, that I thought, wow, this is a great learning experience.
You're getting real life, in real time experience.
Real news experience, yeah.
How cool is that? Right out of school.
Yeah.
Right, but you worked hard for that.
And that's the thing. In this business, the pretenders are weeded out relatively quickly. Yeah. If you're not all in, like one of my mantras or mottos is, and this is from the sports perspective, is your greatest ability is your availability. So show up, be all in, dig your heels in, make it work, make it happen. The old Nike slogan, just do it. I buy into that because I want to get things done.
Yeah, you do. And that's you. And I mean, you've lived this your whole life, and it has served you well. So from Chatham, what happens next?
So Chatham, it's a part-time job, right? So weekend news anchoring, weekday reporting. It's a great first step into the door, and that was the key in college. Just get your foot in the door. Once you're in, you can move around if you have to or if you want to. So I wanted to, and I needed to move around because I wanted full-time opportunity. But again, we're still mid-90s. Things aren't really rolling, but there was a full-time opportunity that developed, but it was in Fort McMurray, Alberta, as you alluded to in the intro. And Fort McMurray, Alberta is a long ways away.
You're going to say it's a lovely little place. I know you.
It is. Yes, it is.
And I'm sure it is. I've not been.
I'll say it was a lovely little place because now it's a lot bigger than what it was. So we moved there, and I'll explain that in a second, because it was a full-time opportunity. It was Monday to Friday, so my weekends were now free to do other things. Afternoon news anchor, and a little bit of reporting if things kind of broke, because it was a very small newsroom. There was the news director, and there was me, and then there was the sports person, and then not much else really in terms of running the radio station. But Fort was a real eye-opener, because not only did I do the stuff that I was hired for, but I got to do a lot of other things. So hosting my own talk show, or working the audio board, which I didn't even do in college.
Wow.
It was simply journalism, 101 at Fanshawe.
But wait, did that scare you? Having to run the board?
At first, when I was asked, I thought, okay, can I do it? Because I haven't done it. But again, I'm all in. So I'm willing to try everything. And I have really tried everything that has been put in front of me.
Okay.
So I gave it a shot, knowing that if I make a mistake, no one's going to die, right? Maybe a commercial won't fire on time, or the guest mic won't be hit because I missed the button, or whatever the case was. But I got through it, and the next time was better, and the next time was even better than that. And so at the end of my tenure there, after working the audio board, I was almost an expert. I was competent, or more than competent, on the audio board, and it was a lot of fun.
And you said we moved there.
Yes. So in Chatham, on that part-time gig, I met a person on a blind date, we fell in love, and she joined me on my journey in broadcast journalism to Fort McMurray, Alberta. And we are now, 28 years later, married.
Congratulations.
With the 2 kids, yes.
And your wife's name is?
Her name is Carrie.
Carrie.
Yes.
And she has followed you on your
She has. I'm not sure why, but she has
you're
been.
a great guy.
It's so true. Like, your other half, especially in this industry, because it's so chaotic at times, is so important. And she has been a Mount Everest to me in my journey. Every time there's been an opportunity for me to climb the ladder or take that step, she has never said, I don't know. She's always said, let's do it. Yeah.
And go for it. She's your biggest fan.
Absolutely. 100%.
And you hers. I do know that.
Okay.
You are very supportive equally.
Yes, 100%.
So, and Carrie's from Chatham?
She was born in Windsor, and she grew up just outside of Chatham in a community called Bothwell.
Oh, I know it.
Do you?
I have Sarnia roots.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
You know the area.
Yes, the whole part of the province.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful
it is.
area.
It is.
Yes. So you both move out to Fort McMurray with no family, no support.
Yep.
You're there for how long again?
We're there for 2 years, 10 months, 8 days, 13 hours. No, 2 years, 10 months, basically, right? Like 96 to 99.
But your goal is to come home.
Eventually, because that's a far place. I was, and this is kind of a funny story. So in my time at Fort, I was given the opportunity to host the pregame show for the Fort McMurray Oil Barons of the Alberta Junior Hockey League.
Oh, wow.
So this is comparable to a Brantford Bulldogs or a Niagara Ice Dogs, right?
That's
OHL.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And so maybe one tier below that. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to host this pregame show. I'm going to kill it. And I did. It was a lot of fun, right? There was also a postgame show component to that, too. And I thought, I want to do that, too. And it was a lot of fun, too. And I remember, this is just a funny story with my wife. There was a particular song, and I can never remember the name of the song or the band that sings it. I just know how it goes. And she hated the song because it would always play during the Fort McMurray Oil Barons game. And from time to time, we'd be, even now, sitting at home, watching, whether it's the Leafs or whatever sporting event, more or less hockey, and that song would come on. And we would always chuckle. She wouldn't get angry, but now we would laugh because I'm always like, oh, there's the song again. And she would be like, oh,
you don't remember what it's called?
I don't remember what it's called. I'll have to Google it.
Okay. Well, you can let me know later.
I will definitely let you know, yes.
Maybe insert a little bit of it.
But the funny part is, so I was offered the play-by-play announcing duties of the Fort McMurray Oil Barons when I was in Fort McMurray. And I thought, is now the time to make the jump into this seat? Ooh. I felt that I was ready, but I also thought, I don't know if there's something in my gut that told me you're not there yet. And you can jump in and you'll probably make some mistakes or whatever, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be. And I always, it's not that it's a regret, but I always wonder if I had taken that, like how my life would have changed. Would I have stayed there longer? Would I have climbed the ladder and been the play-by-play announcer of whatever hockey team? I will never know, but I definitely have no regrets.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what door you opened, you were destined for success.
Thanks.
It's true.
Yeah.
So had you stayed there, we might never have met. And
Very much so.
You might not have come home.
I wouldn't even be on this podcast right
Right? And how tragic would that be? So I'm glad you made the trek home. So after Fort McMurray,
Yes.
you're then applying for more jobs?
Yeah, so we,
Back
at
this
that
way?
time, were a little homesick,
Yeah.
right? So during that time, we got married. So this was 1998,
Okay.
right? We were still a year away from eventually moving. So we thought, especially after getting married, we want to get back home. We want to get back to Ontario. And so I was strictly looking for jobs in Ontario. And there wasn't a lot, but there was a full-time gig in Welland for a morning news anchor. And so I applied, I got it, actually took a pay cut, believe it or not, to come back home to work at this radio station. And it wasn't the most enjoyable experience. It was kind of a rudderless radio station. There was a lot of guidance or leadership or direction from those up top. So I thought, I don't really want to stay here long term. So I was only actually there for 2 months.
But it was a great
way to get back home.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity in Brantford at CKPC, which sadly is no longer with us. Iconic radio station in Brantford. And this is another place where I got to do a lot of different things, from news anchoring to reporting to hosting shows to being on the audio board to reporting. It was just a whole lot of fun and a great team there too.
Yeah, so you were always willing to learn and grow
Yeah.
as a professional.
100%, yeah.
And you took that and the things that you've done, and we haven't even gotten to Hamilton yet.
Yeah.
So Brantford, how long were you there?
Brantford, I was there for about a year, and it ended sadly because I got the old heave-ho.
Oh, no.
So the news director who hired me had left about 8 months into my tenure there and had gotten a job with another organization. And so they ended up hiring another news director. So full staff component once again. The former news director, it didn't turn out so well at his new position, so he came back. So now we have one extra egg in the basket. So one of the eggs had to be shattered. And I remember the day I got called at home, and my wife and I are there at home, and it was, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday afternoon. And I still remember Phil Lester was the news director at the time. He called me up and said, hey, can you come in? And I thought I was reporting. So I packed a little lunch. I got my bag. I was ready to, whatever the assignment was, I'm gonna hit this out of the park. And so I show up there and I'm in his office thinking I was going to get, assigned to whatever. And he just hands me an envelope and I'm like, oh, what's this? It's like, well, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. And, we had a great time here, but, best of luck. And the saying is, you never really make it in radio or TV until you get fired, right? And so that was the moment I made it.
And thank goodness.
Yeah.
So you didn't take that in a negative way. You kept moving forward.
There was a little bit of negativity in terms of, what did I do wrong, right?
Fair.
Or second guessing. And I thought, why was I chosen? I was just the most junior person in the organization. So I didn't really take it personally. I knew it was a numbers game. And I remember telling my wife, and she was like, all right, we're going to get, pull up our socks and get to the next opportunity. So out the resumes went again.
Yeah.
And now we're in the CD age, right?
Right.
Like no more cassette tapes, which is great. Resumes could be emailed. Email was the thing in its early stages. And so, again, applying all over the place, Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara. That was kind of the cone
Right.
where I wanted to stay. And Paul Tipple at CHML in Hamilton said, hey, come in for a chat. And I came in and wow, my wife was pregnant at the time. She was about 6 months pregnant. And I still remember walking in, meeting Paul, and his office was upstairs. My wife was in the lobby, and we chatted for a good 2 hours at least. And it was such an awesome conversation about the station's history, the people that worked there, the people that had worked there before and carrying the torch and laying the foundation for what an iconic station that was.
Yeah.
And the opportunity was a part-time traffic reporter. So I would be talking about traffic snarls on the QEW or the 403 or the link and informing the public of how they can get around these issues. And so after this 2-hour conversation, Paul says, well, we'll give you a call, and if you're the person, I'll let you know either way. And so I head down into the lobby, and my wife's there, and she says, thank goodness we're done. I have to pee like a racehorse.
You left your pregnant wife.
I did. I mean, the 2 hours felt
I
like
love this
2
story.
minutes.
Yes, I know. Because yes, absolutely.
But
And
I
I'm
felt
sure-
her pain, yeah.
Yeah, but she forgave you because what
She did.
happened next?
what happened was I got the call from Paul about, 2 or 3 days later or whatever it was, and said, we'd love for you to join us, on CHML. And, it was 2 to 7 p.m., traffic reporting in the afternoon, which is a key time because that's when people are driving home from work.
Absolutely.
And in those days, this is November of 2000. I was actually hired on my father's birthday, November 29th, 2000, or at least that was my first day. And I remember learning from a guy, his name was Sean Millette. I don't know what he's doing now, but he was awesome in terms of showing me, the numbers to call, how to describe, the traffic flow, where to start, where to end, because you're kind of trying to envision the person in their car saying,
right.
okay, how do I get around this? And there was one day he actually did, I don't know if I should be telling this story, but
Yes, you should.
he did, I was told this, I didn't see this in person, but I was told he did a traffic reporter shift in his underpants because it was so hot in the area of the traffic center. This was at the end of the newsroom. And I guess the heat registers, and I found this out rather quickly, were on all the time. And so, yes, it was quite warm in that area of the newsroom. Yeah.
Thank goodness there were no cameras to be.
There were no
recording
cameras there.
back
No,
then.
no.
But hey, it's just his underwear.
Yeah.
So you're. This is how you start your career at AM 900 CHML, a historic station here in Hamilton.
Yeah.
You start as a traffic reporter, but then how do you become a news anchor?
Yeah.
How do you, what did you do? Because there's young people listening going, how did he do all of this, right?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, you have to be on your game. So whether you're traffic reporting or news anchoring, you got to be on. When that mic goes on, the switch has to be flicked, so to speak. So I think it was just because the traffic center was just really a pod in the newsroom, everyone else in the newsroom could instantly hear what I sounded like, how I was relaying the information, how I would troubleshoot certain things, whether it was technically or from a description standpoint. And so that was easily digestible to them. Plus, Paul and the others would be listening as well if they're in their car or at home or whatever the case was. And they certainly, I think, saw and felt a little bit of talent. And so every so often it would be, hey, here's a news release that others can't get to. Can you write this for the news? Knowing that I had a journalistic background. And so I would write it. And the next would be, can you write it and can you record a 20-second voiceover that we can play on the air? And so through that osmosis, it was like we can use him in other aspects of what we do as a radio station. There was a moment in time where there was some casualties in terms of the workforce. People had to be let go. And so that provided opportunities, especially in the morning show, for me to jump into. So Al Craig was and still is an illustrious name and holds a great legacy in this community. He was one of the individuals who was let go at CHML, and he was just, the voice in the face of sports, like Bill Sturp was for so many years on CHML. And so I was given the opportunity to jump into his chair on the morning show, relaying sports information, and that's how really my sports heritage, if you will, in Hamilton kind of started.
And you did it all with class, Rick. That's the thing about you. Genuine, classy, professional in every way, shape, and form.
Thanks.
And always mindful of others.
Yeah.
Again, the relationship side of things. So all kinds of different roles and hats at CHML. 24 years, is that right? You were there 24 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long time, Rick.
Yeah, it is.
That's longevity in the broadcasting industry, to stay in one place that long. So you did a lot of things right. Mm-hmm. Your tenacity paid off, obviously. The ability to say yes. And I hope young people that are listening today pick up on that part. Mm-hmm. Don't be scared to try something that you maybe don't know how to do. Yeah. You can find a way. And you are a true example of that.
Yeah, I'm a never say no guy.
Yeah, and you just figure it out.
I'm going to, not only do I want to try things, but I want to prove to myself that I can do something that I've never done, right? That really, greases my gears, so to speak. Like I get a big kick out of that.
I love that.
And I love it when other people do it too, because that inspires me.
August of 2024, I think it was the 14th. This is a day that shocked our entire community. AM 900 CHML, almost 100 years old, went off the air. What went through your mind that day?
The first, and this might sound hokey, but the first thing I thought of was the listeners in Hamilton. Because it wasn't you're losing your job, it's the station's closing. So this is ended. People are no longer going to be able to count on this brand to tell them what's going on in their community. And that, I know it sounds strange, but that's the first thing I thought of. I thought, well, what are people going to do? But yeah, I mean, it was a normal morning. I hosted the morning show that morning. It was normal until Paul Tipple, who was reading the morning news and had done for ages, sent me a text during the show, and it was about 8:15. I thought, well, this is strange. He can always just click on the talkback that we had at the station and say whatever he had to say.
Right.
But he sends me a text, and I always had my phone nearby for instant information, whatever the case was.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, our manager's in the building. Who was rarely in the building, and there's another individual I don't recognize also in the building. And so for the few months leading up to this day, there was an inkling that the company that owned the radio station was in financial trouble, or we knew that they were in financial straits. Yeah. And there was a big meeting, months earlier that, difficult decisions will be made, but, we don't foresee any, closures. And it wasn't not long after that there were some closures in Eastern Ontario, and things were changing. So we thought, okay, something's going to happen at CHML, but no one, I think, thought that the station would close. Maybe some people would lose their jobs. Yeah. There'd be more syndication. We'd seen this before. So that morning when I got the text, I knew something was up. So I kind of figured, and I think we all, now that we've talked about this over the last year, we all figured one of two things. Either A, I'm getting axed, or I'm staying and I'm doing something different, or with fewer coworkers around.
Which is a common.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
mindset.
Everyone's going to kind of think of that. So the last 45 minutes of the show, in the back of my mind, like way back in the corner, I'm thinking, is this it? Because human nature kind of, takes over, but I still have to execute. I still have to do some interviews, throw the weather and traffic. Paul's still doing the news at 8:30, and he's probably thinking of this too. But I had this inkling that this could be the last show. And I thought for a millisecond, should I say something like, hey, it's been great talking to you all. But in the same sense, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't want to alarm the public to say, oh, what's he talking about? What do you mean? Are you leaving now? Or something happening? So I didn't want to, raise the red flag to say, hey, something's up here. It wouldn't be professional. It wouldn't be, something that I would even consider. But for a split second, I thought, oh, should I do something? And I'm glad I didn't. Although the way, and we can get into it, the way the station kind of ended was sad. So, the show's done at 9:30, I get a text from my manager to say, can we have a chat? And again, this is it. I'm either doing one or the other. Something's happening.
You knew something. And
so the door opens, and I recognized the other individual because I knew she was from HR. And there's an envelope on the desk, and I thought, oh, my day has come, right? Because back to the Brantford days where the envelope's on the table, I thought, well, this is it. And little did I know, and my jaw must have hit the table when they said, not only are you losing your job, the station is closing, effective immediately. And I thought, wow, like that is insane.
That's what went through your head?
Yeah.
Like how, why?
Yeah, well, I figured why pretty quickly, right? Wow. Like the financial aspect. But how could you do this, I think was more of the question. Yeah. And it didn't, and they'll recap this, I didn't lash out, I wasn't angry, I wasn't accusatory, I knew it wasn't their decision, they're just the messenger. And I wouldn't do this to the higher-ups either. No. It's a numbers game. Unfortunately, if they could have kept the station, I'm sure they would have, but they came to the conclusion that it wasn't financially, feasible. So it was tremendously sad for everyone because we had a team that had been there for ages, whether it was Paul or Shona Thompson. Yes. Jeff Story had been there for, 2+ decades. Yeah. Bill Kelly, all these guys who had, carried the torch, had told great stories, had been all in on the community and, raising the flag for Hamilton. It was sad because we knew that the listeners that we had spoken to and spoken with and had on our airwaves and shared all these awesome stories would be in this void, in this chasm without the radio station that they relied upon, whether it was a snowstorm, a school closure, or something happy in the community, they wouldn't be able to find out about it.
See, again, it comes down to those relationships with your listeners, right? With the people in the community. So what time did the station go off air? Remind me.
So it was about 11-ish or so, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Paul, it's kind of funny. He did the 9 o'clock news because the station was still on the air. He did the 9:30 news. And soon after the 9:30 meeting, I went into the newsroom and showed him my envelope to say, okay, this is it, told him the news. He had not gone in yet, but I thought I owed it to him that it's going to come from me as opposed to someone else. And he was shocked, obviously, everyone was. He went to his meeting, and that was it. So come 10 o'clock, it was basically just programming that we had on the air.
No one got to say goodbye.
And exactly, and commercials that we had played, but no one said, "Hey, it's been a blast." Even in the final message that was broadcast, it wasn't a, "Hey, thanks for listening for 97 years. We thank our clients who had been on board for all these decades. We appreciate your listenership," and there was none of that, which was very disappointing.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's sad for the community and for all of you who are such an important part of the community. That station was a steadfast, right? I still think I'm going to click over and listen to the traffic report, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm obviously not going to get that right now.
Yeah, so, there's so many times, especially when I'm in a traffic jam, and I think most people can relate to the story, where it's like, how do I get this information, right? And when there's a school closure, where am I going to?
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. So devastating day for you and others. I'm sure you've had many conversations, and I'm sure there were a lot of people that handled it very differently, and that's okay because we're all individuals. Yeah. But the way you've conducted yourself, I imagine, knowing what I know about you, is, okay, this is sad news for our community. What's next for me?
Yeah.
Am I right?
That was the immediate thought.
So
what am I going to do now?
Yeah. So,
and it wasn't what am I going to do now?
No.
It was, okay, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's tackle this 100% like I do pretty much everything. And so for me, there was one big question, and it was, is there a future in media? Is there a future in broadcasting and journalism? Because with the advent of AI, the disinformation that we've kind of seen, radio stations and television stations, their budgets are shrinking. Broadcast journalism programs at colleges and universities are closing. The question is real. Like, is there a future in this? And should I pursue this as career 2.0, so to speak? And so that brought another question. Am I going to go down this path still, or am I going to go into the dark side of media and public relations or media relations with an institution? No shade. I'm just saying on the
dark
the communications side is a different animal. So, and so that was the crossroads I was at.
Yeah, it's a tough crossroads to be at. So,
100%, because I know where my passion was.
Yes.
And it wasn't in media and public relations.
Exactly.
Although if I fell into that or landed something, I know I would.
You would excel, Rick. You are a natural, gifted communicator. Your relationship ability with to create a relationship with almost everyone you meet is, you would fall right into that. But you nailed it. That's not your passion.
Yeah.
So how did because when I introduced you, you are now the co-host of CHCH Morning Live.
Right.
As well as your podcast.
Yeah.
You host that.
The Newsmakers, yeah.
How did this happen? Was it instant?
No, it was not instant. I would have loved it for it to be instant, but no, it wasn't.
Life doesn't happen that way.
No, I know. But everything happens for a reason, I think. I understand, some pieces had to move for me to get into this opportunity. But back to August of 2024, the station closes. A flood of emotion is happening from everyone, including myself, because it is, a sad time. And the first kind of, again, back to the question of which road do I go down, there were so many Ticats fans who said, is the fifth quarter still going to be on? Like, how do we love this show. We want to talk Ticats. We want to vent whether they win or lose. And I thought, why can't it continue, right? I can do something on this. And so I launched literally like 3 days later, the fifth quarter show on YouTube, in which, and this was a whole brand new experience because I wasn't used to building widgets or thumbnails and hashtags. Like, I would do it for web stories, but now I'm doing it on YouTube. It was a whole different monster. And my kids were so helpful, and I knew they would be because that's their world.
Yes.
Right. And so 3 days later, I launched this, fifth quarter show podcast. It's on YouTube. I'm on camera now. The game ends. We're all kibitzing and we're cheering when they win and commiserating when they're losing. And so the passion, well, it was obviously still there. It's sports, it's broadcasting, and I thought this is the path that I got to go down. So season ends, even in the CFL off season, which is a long time. I thought I want to continue this show in a different form, so I would do features on Ticats players or iconic seasons that the team had. And, viewers would love that as well. But in January of 2020, what year are we in now?
I think
2025.
2025,
right?
yeah.
I get a text from Bubba O'Neill at CHCH saying there is an opportunity on the morning show as co-anchor because Tim Bolin, who's now at Breakfast Television, is going to pursue another opportunity. We didn't know at the time that it was BT, but eventually landed there. And I thought, well, here I go. Like, this was a no-brainer. I thought about it for a nanosecond. Yeah, it's mornings. I'd waken up at stupid o'clock for almost 30 years at that point. This is not going to be a big change. It's still entertainment. It's still news. It's still interviewing, all the things that I love to do. Passion. Yeah, connecting with the community, being out in the community, doing special events. So I applied. I put my resume in. Sent in a demo that I just recorded on my laptop because I didn't have any TV experience. And
but they could see you on YouTube.
Yes.
Now,
yeah,
right?
Very much so. So they knew how I was in front of a camera. And I was very comfortable because I'd been on Bubba's podcast before. I'd been in the CH studio, new and old, before doing different things. So I was comfortable in that kind of landscape. So I was shortlisted. I did a screen test or a mock kind of newscast with the morning team, and eventually was hired to be the morning co-anchor.
That's amazing. Yeah. What a great ending to that part of the journey because you are perfect for the role.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Were you nervous though? Tell me about your first day really quickly. Were you
first
nervous
day at CH?
Yeah, because you're now. It's new, but it's the same but different.
Yeah,
right.
The biggest. Cameras. Yeah, there's a new team. New building, new atmosphere. My biggest quandary. I don't even know if it was that. My biggest challenge was the stuff behind the scenes in terms of how do I build this from the software that they were using? Because I hadn't used ENPS, which is what we use. So how do I code this correctly? What viz do I need? All these terminologies I wasn't familiar with, but that was a 2-week kind of training regimen to get me up to speed. And then May 12th, 2025, I was on the air. So the first day, I will admit, I was stiff because I was so laser focused on not getting anything wrong on the prompter.
You're a perfectionist.
Right? Yes.
I understand. And I don't think you were stiff. I think it's a new experience.
Right.
And any new experience, you have to give yourself some grace, right? So I think you nailed it from day one.
Thanks.
And you're only getting to the place where you should, you're rocking it. You're rocking it. That's what I'll say. That's, not the greatest terminology, but you have such a natural way to present. You connect with listeners and viewers. You're the real deal, the genuine part of that one word I was trying to come up with for Rick Zamperin.
I appreciate that.
That's you, 100%. So the transition from radio to TV for you was not easy, but manageable, right?
Yeah, from a presenting standpoint, I think that was the easiest part, right? Okay. Because I'm still doing the same thing. It was all the other stuff that...
the behind the scenes stuff. But the message, I guess, is for anyone transitioning from something they're used to something new, you can conquer it.
Yeah, and it's okay to feel uneasy or apprehensive or maybe a little bit of self-doubt. And I don't have a lot of that, knowing that I've hit some other challenges out of the park, but knowing that there was going to be a learning curve, right?
Yeah. And there's no time for self-doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
You just have to do it.
Just go all in.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. And you are really, they're very fortunate to have you on the team at CHCH.
Thank
and
you.
I can say that wholeheartedly. So, in general, you have a positive outlook for everything. And yes, the media landscape has changed dramatically. Yeah. I grew up with someone my dad was in radio, so I heard it from a very young age that things are changing. It's decades and decades later, things are still changing. But you have a lot of hope for the industry. I feel that from you. You love what you do. What do you see the future being?
I think there's always something on the horizon, right? Back when the TV first came along, radio is going to die, a quick death, and it's still here. The internet came along, and that's going to kill radio, and TV is going to take a hit, and maybe from a financial standpoint, it has a little bit, but they're still around. They're still all feasible mediums where you deliver and receive information. I don't think they're going away.
Yeah.
The model might change a little bit, and it has to certain respects, but there's always going to be something else, whether it's a podcast, AI is the big thing, that is going to create some opportunities as well. So I always, and I'm full of analogies, control the controllables. So just go with what you know. Don't worry about all the outside noise because you can't control that. And so whether it's a podcast or something we haven't even heard of before, something is going to be coming that we're going to get to sink our teeth into.
And embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too. Okay, are you ready for a little this or that?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
From that comes this episode with Rick Zamperin. It's your edition. So I think I know the answer. Most people will know the answer. And there's going to be some eye rolling.
Okay.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird, 1,000,000%.
So what's
I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. I have to be an early bird.
What's your bedtime?
Bedtime is 8:30ish.
Every night of the week?
No, Fridays and Saturdays, 9, 10 o'clock.
Oh, big party animal.
Yeah.
I love it. But this is how you've lived your life, and this is your routine. Okay.
Yeah. And
okay.
listen, you got to be responsible.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Okay. At one point, were you a night owl?
No, not really.
Not really.
And I think I took this from my dad because he would get up very early. He was a carpenter contractor, so he'd be up at 4:30, and away he went. And so I naturally just woke up early.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Even like during my school days, like I would be up and at 'em, like, let's go.
Again, you are where you are supposed to be in life. Play-by-play or morning radio/TV?
In terms of what I prefer?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Play-by-play is the dream job.
Right.
I get a kick out of being on TV every day and hosting the radio show when I did in the morning, but there's nothing like calling a Tiger Cats touchdown. Like the boy in me jumps out all the time to say, the team did it again, right? Like that is the ultimate adrenaline rush. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Yeah.
And you can't do that every day, so it's a special thing. So I think all of what was mentioned, you would pick.
You're exactly right. Yes.
Okay, there you go. That makes you happy. Hockey game or football game?
Oh man, they're so close.
I know.
I'm going to say football game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it's just my connection to the team for so
fair,
long, right? Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Beach vacation or a rustic adventure? Do you even get vacation? Do you take time?
I'll be taking my first vacation next month since I started at CH. Yes.
Okay, and where is it? Hot destination?
Where I'm going on vacation?
You don't have
No.
to tell us. We will not follow you there.
No, I'm staying home because my wife couldn't get the same week off.
Oh no!
So Puerto Vallarta, which will be fine.
Okay.
I have a to-do list to get to.
So Mother Nature better make the weather a little
But I'll
nicer.
go with the rustic adventure, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would prefer that. Okay,
Yes.
all right. I kind of thought that. Calling a last-second touchdown or an overtime winner?
Overtime winner in hockey?
Yeah.
Or just an overtime winner?
Let's say hockey.
I'll go with the last second touchdown is pretty dramatic.
Pretty
I'll
cool.
go with that, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is unrelated to sports, but paperback book or an audio book? Or you must read.
Yeah, paperback.
Paperback, me too.
Oh, yeah. Feeling it, it's almost like a newspaper, right? I want to feel it. I want to smell it.
Some people are saying, what is a newspaper right now? Yes,
tragic.
I know. Tragic. Wayne Gretzky. I can't even say it. Wayne Gretzky or Sidney Crosby?
Wayne Gretzky. I mean, I grew up watching his illustrious career, and I have with Crosby as well. But Gretzky was the first, in my age, pure superstar that I was exposed to.
Yeah. He's forever a legend to us.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Okay. Covering sports or covering politics?
Covering sports. Oh, that's not even a question. Politics is fun, but there are stats with politics, but I love sports
You
stats.
love sports stats. But you do have to give us the political updates and information.
For sure.
So it's not your favorite thing, but you're very good at it.
Right. I've never bought a book this thick of political stats, but I have of sports stats.
Okay, fair. Okay, sneakers or dress shoes? I didn't look today.
I would prefer sneakers, but I love dress shoes. Yeah. Let's go with sneakers. If I had a choice, I'm picking the sneakers.
But you can wear the sneakers with the suit now,
yes,
right?
Yes.
This is the thing.
Yes,
this
very
is
trendy.
Okay, so you could try it. Okay, final one. Coffee or energy drink? What gets you through the morning?
Coffee.
Coffee?
You know what? It used to be in the morning tea.
Really?
And then one day at work at CHML, they changed the water, and the tea didn't taste as good. So I started drinking coffee in the morning. And now I have 3 cups every morning. I will have a cup of tea at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
Are you shaking?
No.
No, this is fine.
But I don't need another one.
And you'll have it at 3 p.m. and you can still go to bed at 8 or 8:30.
Yes.
You are superhuman.
I used to have a tea at 9 and then go to bed in my radio
Caffeinated?
days. Yeah.
Wow. Again, superhuman.
Yeah, I guess
that
so.
was fun.
That was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rick. You one quick moment. What moment in your career changed everything? Was it August of 2024?
Wow, there was a lot. 1 year anniversary of 9/11, broadcasting in New York, first play-by-play game at Canadian Stadium in Winnipeg in 2007. Yeah, you know what?
There's a
August
lot.
2024 is a big one because that changed my trajectory in terms of doing one thing and then, tweaking a little bit. And it's been a lot of fun.
And from that comes this. We are so lucky to have you a part of the CHCH team. You are definitely an icon in this community, Rick. Don't ever forget that. Stay humble, stay wonderful, and thank you so much for sharing with us. I am so honored that you came on the podcast with me.
Thanks for having me. Continued success. Can't wait to see your other episodes.
Thank you. Kind, compassionate, thoughtful, committed, community-driven, humble, the definition of a consummate professional. That's our very own Rick Zamperin. But beyond the career, the accolades, and the years behind the microphone is a person who has continued to show up, as you heard today, with authenticity, integrity, and genuine care for the people around him. Like all of us, Rick has faced a few challenges along the way and moments of uncertainty. But what stands out is not just what he's accomplished. Instead, it's how he's chosen to move through these moments with grace, resilience, perspective, and full of heart. The way he shows up for himself, for his family, for his colleagues, and for this community speaks volumes about the kind of person that Rick Zamperin is. Even after decades in broadcasting, Rick has never lost sight of that dream that first inspired him as a kid. He stayed connected to what matters most to him. He continues to evolve, embrace new opportunities, and he keeps believing that there is always more ahead. We should all take a chapter out of Rick's book. And maybe that's the message for us today. Stay true to who you are. Follow the things that spark something inside of you. Stay focused on what matters most to you. And be willing, once in a while, to try something new, even when the outcome is uncertain. Because growth, purpose, and possibility often begin the moment we decide to take a chance. You never know until you try. So why don't you take that chance? Never stop trying, never stop believing, and never stop becoming who you're meant to be. Because from that comes this. With love.